The Luftwaffe had the Focke-Wulf 190, 4 20mm cannons, 2 machine guns, top speed, 410 miles per hour, Germany's best interceptor. America had the B-17 Flying Fortress, 13 machine guns, armor plating protecting 10 crew members, a flying tank with wings. Britain built a bomber from plywood, gave it no defensive guns whatsoever, made it faster than both. By 1944, it was the most versatile aircraft in the RAF. Hermann Göring reportedly said, "It makes me furious when I see the Mosquito." The British knock together a beautiful wooden aircraft that every piano factory can turn out, and they give it a speed which they have now increased yet again. The head of the Luftwaffe was jealous of furniture. This is that story. February 18, 1944. Northern France. Temperature, -3 degrees Celsius. Inside Amiens prison, 258 men wait. French resistance fighters, Allied intelligence officers, men who know the invasion plans for Normandy, men the Germans have been interrogating for weeks. Execution scheduled for tomorrow morning. British intelligence receives word Raymond Vivant has been captured. He's the last OCM resistance leader at liberty. He knows too much. If the Gestapo breaks him, D-Day is compromised. RAF Hunsdon, Hertfordshire. Same morning, 8 a.m. briefing. 19 Mosquito crews learn their mission, fly to France at treetop level, navigate in atrocious weather, breach prison walls with 500-pound bombs fitted with 11-second delay fuses, get prisoners out. Don't kill them in the process. And German anti-aircraft batteries surround the target. Group Captain Percy Charles Pickard, veteran of 102 operations, leads the formation. His navigator, Flight Lieutenant Alan Broadley, has flown through worse. They take off at 10:50 a.m. They'll be flying Mosquitoes, wooden aircraft. No defensive armament. Speed is their only protection. But how did Britain arrive at this point? How did piano factories start building one of the war's most feared bombers? For that we need to go back 8 years. 1936. The British Air Ministry issues specification P.13/36. They want a twin-engined medium bomber, speed 275 miles per hour minimum, bomb load 3,000 pounds over 3,000 miles. Standard request. Expected response, metal construction. Defensive gun turrets, 7 or 8 crew members. Geoffrey de Havilland reads the specification differently. De Havilland had built racing aircraft in the 1930s. The DH.88 Comet Racer, the DH.91 Albatross airliner. Both used wooden construction. Both were fast, faster than contemporary fighters. He proposes something radical. A 2-seat bomber, no defensive armament. Wooden construction. Rely entirely on speed. The Air Ministry reaction, polite rejection, then outright hostility. Air Chief Marshal Sir Wilfrid Freeman later recalled the prevailing wisdom: a bomber without guns is suicide. Wood construction is obsolete. De Havilland is wasting everyone's time. The proposal violated every contemporary doctrine. Bombers needed defensive firepower. They flew in formation, protecting each other with overlapping fields of fire. A single unarmed bomber would be easy prey. And wood, metal was modern. Aluminium was the future. Wood belonged in the previous war. De Havilland disagreed. His reasoning was elegant. First, British supplies of aluminium were limited. Wood was abundant. Furniture makers across the empire could produce components without disrupting metal aircraft production. Second, wooden construction could be lighter and more aerodynamic than equivalent metal structures. Less weight meant more speed. More speed meant survival. Third, fewer crew members meant fewer casualties per aircraft lost. If losses were inevitable, lose fewer men per loss. The Air Ministry kept saying no. De Havilland kept pushing. Finally, in November 1938, he received permission to build a prototype. But with conditions the project had lowest priority. Tiger Moth trainers came first. Propeller production for other manufacturers came first. The Mosquito prototype would be built with whatever resources remained. It was a dismissal disguised as approval. De Havilland accepted. Salisbury Hall, London Colney. March 1940. Construction begins. The Mosquito's structure defied conventional wisdom at every level. The fuselage was built in two halves, left and right, molded over concrete forms, 3 layers birch plywood outer skin, balsa wood core, birch plywood inner skin, bonded with casing glue, made from milk protein. The result? A monocoque shell, stressed skin construction. The fuselage carried loads through its surface rather than through an internal frame. Lighter, stronger, more streamlined than metal equivalents. Wings were built as single units. Wooden spars, plywood webs, doped fabric covering certain sections, no rivets, no stress concentrations from hundreds of metal joints. Engine nacelles were carefully streamlined. Radiator intakes integrated into wing leading edges. Every surface optimized for minimum drag. The skeptics had numbers ready. Wood absorbs moisture. Wood warps. Wood rots. Wood burns. De Havilland's engineers had answers: moisture-resistant glues, quality control during curing, protective finishes, fire-resistant bulkheads separating the engines from fuel tanks. But the real answer was simpler: make it so fast that none of those problems matter. November 25, 1940. The prototype flies for the first time. Chief Test Pilot Geoffrey de Havilland Jr., the founder's son, takes it up. He lands grinning. His report shocks everyone. The aircraft handles beautifully. Responsive, stable, and fast. Faster than the current Spitfire in level flight. The test pilots can't believe what they're flying. Here's the problem: the Air Ministry still doesn't want it. September 1940. The Battle of Britain is raging. Lord Beaverbrook, Minister of Aircraft Production, orders all resources focused on fighter production. He instructs Air Chief Marshal Freeman to halt Mosquito development. 3 times, Beaverbrook gives this order. 3 times, Freeman forgets to put it in writing. The Mosquito survives on technicalities and bureaucratic delays. Meanwhile, performance testing continues. The numbers keep improving. Top speed, 392 miles per hour, then 398, then 408, range 1,500 miles with a 4,000 pound bomb load, service ceiling 35,000 feet. The Spitfire make v Britain's frontline fighter in 1941, topped out at 374 miles per hour. The Mosquito bomber is faster than the RAF's best fighter. Let's establish what the Mosquito was competing against. August 1941. Focke-Wulf 4-190 fighters appear over France. RAF pilots report a new German aircraft, faster than the Spitfire make v better roll rate. Heavier armament. Intelligence confirms the FW-190A2 reaches 410 miles per hour at 20,000 feet. 4 20mm cannons. 2 13mm machine guns, exceptional at intercepting bombers. German pilot accounts describe it as transformative. After years of flying, Messerschmitt RAF 190 felt modern, wide-track landing gear, excellent visibility, powerful engine. When Allied bomber formations appeared, 4 190 units attacked head-on, where bombers had the weakest defensive armament. It was devastating against Lancasters, against Halifaxes, against Stirlings, against the Mosquito. Different story. June 1942. A captured FW-190 reaches Britain for evaluation. RAF test pilots fly it extensively. They compare it to the Mosquito. The FW-190 is faster in a dive, superior in a dogfight, heavily armed, but straight-line speed. The Mosquito edges it out. Not by much, maybe 5 miles per hour at altitude. But enough. More importantly, the Mosquito isn't trying to dogfight. It's trying to deliver bombs and leave before the FW-190 can climb to intercept altitude. The German perspective makes this clear. Luftwaffe combat reports from 1942 onward show increasing frustration. Mosquitoes were spotted, scrambled against, pursued, and lost. They simply flew away. Now consider the American approach. The B-17 Flying Fortress. America's answer to strategic bombing. First conceived in 1934, continuously improved through multiple variants. By 1943, the B-17G carried 13 Browning B.2.50 caliber machine guns, 2 in a chin turret, 2 in a dorsal turret, 2 in a ball turret underneath, 2 in the tail, 2 at waist positions, 1 firing upward from the radio compartment, 2 on the nose cheeks, 10 crew members, pilot, co-pilot, navigator, bombardier, flight engineer, top turret gunner, radio operator, ball turret gunner, 2 waist gunners, tail gunner, maximum speed 287 miles per hour. The logic was clear. Heavy armament creates overlapping fields of fire. Formation flying allows mutual protection. Bombers become flying fortresses. It worked, partially. The combat box formation meant that attacking fighters faced defensive fire from multiple bombers simultaneously. But losses were brutal. The Schweinfurt-Regensburg mission, August 17, 1943, 60 B-17 SES, lost out of 376 dispatched. Loss rate 16%. The problem wasn't courage. American crews showed remarkable bravery. The problem was physics. A B-17 at combat altitude, flying at 287 miles per hour in formation, couldn't evade. When Focke-Wulf SES attacked head-on at closing speeds exceeding 600 miles per hour, the engagement window was seconds. Defensive gunners had minimal time to track, aim, and fire. Meanwhile, the Focke-Wulf SES only needed 4 or 5 hits to down a fortress when attacking from the front, where the pilot was exposed. Post-war analysis was damning. Most B-17 SES shot down had left formation for mechanical reasons or battle damage. Isolated bombers died quickly. The Mosquito approach was inverted. 2 crew members, 0 defensive guns, maximum speed. Don't get caught. November 15, 1941. No 105 Squadron RAF takes delivery of the first operational Mosquito B.IV at RAF Swanton Morley. Crews are skeptical. They've been flying Blenheim's metal aircraft with defensive guns. Now they're being given wooden aircraft with no protection. The first missions change minds quickly. September 25, 1942. 4 Mosquitoes of 105 Squadron attack Oslo. Target, Gestapo headquarters. Low-level daylight raid. Crews fly at 50 feet over the North Sea, climb to bombing altitude, strike the target with precision and return. No losses. The mission is filmed. The public sees the Mosquito for the first time. Newspapers run stories about the wooden wonder. September 19, 1942. Even bolder. Mosquitoes attack Berlin in daylight. Pilot Dag George Parry is intercepted by Messerschmitt Bf-109S. He outpaces them. 1 Mosquito lost on the mission, but it proved the concept. A wooden bomber just flew to Berlin and back in daylight. The Luftwaffe couldn't stop it. Then came January 30, 1943. The 10th anniversary of the Nazi Party's seizure of power. Hermann Göring scheduled a speech at 11 a.m. broadcast live from Berlin. Propaganda event, show of strength. 3 Mosquitoes from 105 Squadron timed their attack precisely. They arrived over Berlin's main broadcasting station at 11 a.m. exactly. Bombs away. The broadcast went dead. Listeners across Germany heard the explosions, heard the confusion, heard the panic. Göring's speech was delayed by an hour. When he finally spoke, rage was evident in his voice. The BBC reported it gleefully. British newspapers ran it on front pages. The propaganda value was immeasurable. Nazi Germany's second most powerful man, humiliated by 3 wooden aircraft. That afternoon, 3 more Mosquitoes returned to Berlin. Target. A speech by Joseph Goebbels. Same tactic, same result. Psychological warfare at its finest. But the real test came with loss rates. RAF Bomber Command tracked statistics religiously. Every sortie, every aircraft, every casualty. The numbers told a brutal story. November 1943 to March 1944. The Battle of Berlin. Bomber Command launched repeated raids against the German capital. Lancasters, Halifaxes, Stirlings. Lancaster loss rate 5.1%. 1 in 20 aircraft didn't return. Mosquito loss rate 0.5%. 1 in 200. Post-war analysis calculated efficiency differently. The RAF wanted to know per pound sterling spent which aircraft inflicted more damage. The Lancaster could carry 22,000 pounds of bombs, maximum, but it required 7 crew members, 10 machine guns, massive fuel consumption, complex logistics. The Mosquito carried 4,000 pounds, 2 crew members, no defensive armament, less fuel, simpler maintenance, cost per ton of bombs delivered to target, accounting for losses. The Mosquito proved 4.95 times more cost-effective than the Lancaster. Let that sink in. Nearly 5 times more efficient. American analysis provided another perspective. The V-1 flying bomb launch sites in France needed destroying. Allied bombers attacked them throughout 1944. Average tons of bombs required to destroy one launch site. B-17 Flying Fortress, 165 tons. B-26 Marauder, 182 tons. B-25 Mitchell, 219 tons. Mosquito 40 tons, 1/4 the ordnance of a B-17. Same result. The piano factories were outperforming the industrial giants. Now we return to February 18, 1944. Amiens prison, 258 prisoners. Executions tomorrow. The Mosquito formation departs RAF Hunsdon at 10:50 a.m. Weather is atrocious. Snow, low clouds, freezing rain. 4 Mosquitoes lose formation before reaching France. Engine problems. Navigation difficulties. They turn back. That leaves 15 strike aircraft, plus 1 photo reconnaissance Mosquito to film the attack. Wing Commander Irving Black-Smith leads 487 Squadron RNZF, 6 aircraft. Their job: breach the outer prison walls. Wing Commander Bob Iarday leads 464 Squadron RAF, 6 aircraft. Their job: destroy the guards' barracks and the main prison building, but only if prisoners aren't escaping. Wing Commander I.R. Dale leads 21 Squadron RAF, 3 aircraft. Their job: if the first 2 waves fail, bomb everything, kill the prisoners rather than let the Germans execute them. Grim calculus. But prisoners knew about this plan. Some had asked for it. Better to die quickly in an air raid than slowly under Gestapo interrogation. Group Captain Pickard flies rear position. Master bomber. He'll assess damage and decide if 21 Squadron needs to attack. The formation crosses the English coast at Littlehampton. Drops to 50 feet over the channel. Wave top height. Radar invisible. German coastal radar doesn't detect them. They make landfall near the Somme estuary. Turn north. Follow roads and railways. Visual navigation. No radio transmissions. Radio silence maintained. Snow cover everywhere. White ground makes aircraft conspicuous, but it also makes navigation easier. Roads and railways show up clearly. At 12 p.m. precisely they reach the Amiens Albert Road, 1 mile south of Doullens. Turn toward the target. They accelerate. Full throttle. Treetop level. Literally. Witnesses report aircraft flying at 15 meters altitude, 5-story building height. A French farmer plowing his field sees them coming, stops. Comes to attention. Salutes. 487 Squadron arrives first. Wing Commander Smith in the lead. Each Mosquito carries 2 500-pound bombs with 11-second delay fuses. The delay is critical. Bombs penetrate the walls before exploding. Blow them outward rather than inward. Give prisoners maximum chance to escape. Smith's section attacks the north wall. Perfect placement. Bombs strike. Delay. Massive explosions. The 3-foot-thick stone wall collapses. Second section attacks the east wall. Same result. Another breach. Prisoners inside hear the explosions. Some think it's Allied bombing gone wrong, targeting them by mistake. Then they see the walls collapse. See daylight through the breaches. They run. 464 Squadron follows immediately. I.R. Dale's aircraft attack the guards' barracks. Direct hits. Building destroyed. German casualties heavy. But 1 Mosquito pilot, squadron leader Ian McRitchie RNZF, sees prisoners fleeing through the breaches, holds fire, doesn't bomb the main building. Other 464 squadron pilots follow his lead. They orbit once, confirm prisoners escaping. Turn for home. McRitchie's aircraft takes anti-aircraft fire. Engine hit. Crashes near Villeroy. His navigator, Flight Lieutenant Rick Sampson, killed instantly. McRitchie survives, badly wounded. Captured. Spends the rest of the war as a POW. Group Captain Pickard orbits at 500 feet. Master bomber position. He sees hundreds of prisoners running. Signals 21 Squadron. Mission successful. Return to base. Then he turns for home. 2 Focke-Wulf 190s appear. JG-26. They've been scrambled from a nearby airfield. Pickard's Mosquito is slower at low altitude. The Focke-Wulf 190s close. They attack. Cannon fire severs his Mosquito's tail section. The aircraft plunges. Crashes near Montigny. Pickard and Broadley killed instantly. Local French villagers rush to the crash site. Try to pull the bodies out. The Mosquito's ammunition cooks off from the fire. They're driven back. Later, after the Germans leave, they recover Pickard's rank insignia and medals. Cut them from his uniform. Eventually send them to his widow. Pickard is buried in a French cemetery near the prison he helped breach. Local villagers tend his grave. Leave flowers every year on February 18th. Back at the prison, 258 prisoners escape through the breaches. 102 killed in the bombing, or shot by surviving guards. 182 recaptured within 48 hours. But 79 resistance fighters and intelligence officers make it to safe houses. Raymond Vivant among them. The OCM resistance network survives. D-Day security intact. Total British losses: 2 Mosquitoes, 4 aircrew, 2 dead, 2 POWs. The Germans diverted resources for weeks tracking escapees. Railway junction bombed as a diversion delayed troop movements for hours. The film crew's footage shows the entire attack. Black and white film. Spectacular explosions. Prisoners running through the breaches. It's distributed to newsreels across Britain. Morale impact: immeasurable. The French resistance calls it a miracle. The RAF calls it precision warfare. The Germans call it terrorism. Göring calls it humiliation. March 18, 1943. Berlin. Aircraft Production Conference. Hermann Göring sits at the head of the table. Around him, aircraft designers, factory managers, Luftwaffe officers. Minutes are being recorded. Göring is furious about something. The Mosquito. The transcript survives. His exact words: "It makes me furious when I see the Mosquito. I turn green and yellow with envy. The British, who can afford aluminium better than we can, knock together a beautiful wooden aircraft that every piano factory over there is building, and they give it a speed which they have now increased yet again." Pause. The room is silent. Nobody wants to respond to a rhetorical question from Göring when he's angry. He continues. "What do you make of that? There is nothing the British do not have. They have the geniuses and we have the nincompoops." The statement reveals several things. First, German intelligence knew about the Mosquito's construction. They knew it was wooden. They knew it was built in dispersed facilities, furniture factories, small workshops, facilities impossible to target effectively with strategic bombing. Second, they knew its performance kept improving. Different engine variants, aerodynamic refinements, the speed advantage kept growing. Third, Göring recognized the strategic implications. Germany was metal poor. Britain had chosen a construction method that didn't compete with German resource bottlenecks. You can't blockade wood the way you can blockade aluminium imports. Fourth, and this must have burned, he was jealous. The head of the Luftwaffe, the commander who had terrorized Europe in 1940, the man who promised Hitler he could destroy the RAF, he was envious of plywood. But the nightmare got worse. By late 1943, Mosquito night fighters were hunting Luftwaffe aircraft over Germany, not just defending British bombers, actively hunting German fighters trying to land after intercept missions. Luftwaffe night fighter units flew Messerschmitt Bf 110s and Junkers Ju 88s. Both were slower than the Mosquito night fighter variants. When Mosquito NF crews found them, the outcome was predictable. RAF Pilot Wing Commander Brands Burbridge claimed 21 kills all at night, mostly against German night fighters. The hunter became the hunted. German night fighter crews began requesting rear gunners for self-defense against aircraft attacking them while they were trying to attack RAF bombers. The irony was perfect. Germany had built the world's most sophisticated night fighter force. Now they needed protection from British night fighters. Göring authorized double credits for pilots who shot down mosquitoes, special commendations, promotions, extra pay. Didn't matter. The numbers didn't change. September 1944 to May 1945. Final months of the war. Mosquito losses over Germany: 92 aircraft total. All marks. All missions. Bombing. Target marking. Intruder operations. Night fighters. During the same period, Bomber Command lost hundreds of Lancasters. The Germans tried everything. They developed the Heinkel He-219 night fighter, faster than the Mosquito, well-armed, sophisticated radar. Production priority was denied. Erhard Milch, aircraft production chief, argued that slower Ju-88s were adequate for attacking heavy bombers. The He-219 wasn't needed in quantity. That decision guaranteed continued Mosquito dominance. They tried using Messerschmitt Me-262 jets. Some success. Oberleutnant Kurt Welter claimed perhaps 25 Mosquito kills flying the Me-262 at night, but Me-262 production was limited. Pilot training was rushed, fuel was scarce, and even when they achieved kills, the strategic impact was minimal. By 1945, Mosquitoes were flying reconnaissance missions over Berlin in daylight. Again, just like 1942. No fighter escort, no defensive guns. The Luftwaffe was still unable to stop them. Kenneth Oatley, Mosquito pilot, later recalled, it could do anything. Carry a 4,000-pound bomb, fly for 6.5, nearly 7 hours with drop tanks. Good range and speed. If we wanted to put it on, we could go faster than most of their fighters anyway. They'd have to come down from a height, and in the dark they couldn't see us to that extent. And being wood, their radar detection didn't find us very easily, because there was no reflection back from it. It was a sort of aircraft where you felt perfectly confident. You thought you were master of all, and nothing could touch you. That confidence came from experience. From watching German fighters appear, pursue and fall behind. From knowing that speed, not armor, not guns, was survival. The piano factories had won. Final production numbers tell the story. 7,781 Mosquitoes built. Britain, Canada, Australia. 42 different variants. Bomber, fighter, night fighter, photo reconnaissance, target marker, torpedo bomber, fighter bomber, trainer, target tug. No other aircraft in World War II filled more roles successfully. The versatility came from the design philosophy. 2 seats, high power-to-weight ratio, streamlined airframe, maximum speed. Adapt weapons and equipment for specific missions. Want a night fighter? Install radar in the nose. Add 4 20mm cannons. Done. Want a photo reconnaissance aircraft? Remove weapons. Install cameras. Add extra fuel tanks. Maximum altitude and range. Want an anti-shipping strike aircraft? Install rocket rails. Add a torpedo hardpoint. Low-level attack profile. The same basic airframe served every role. Compare this to specialized aircraft. The Lancaster was a bomber, magnificent at that job, but you couldn't make it a fighter. The Spitfire was a fighter, excellent, but you couldn't make it carry 4,000-pound bombs to Berlin. The Mosquito could do both. Post-war evaluation by Don Bennett, Pathfinder Force Commander, captured this. In terms of useful damage done, the Mosquito had proven itself significantly greater in value than any other aircraft in the history of aviation. Strong words. Bennett commanded both Lancasters and Mosquitoes. He knew their capabilities intimately. His conclusion was based on mathematics. Crew hours per ton of bombs delivered, fuel consumption, maintenance requirements, loss rates, training time. Every metric favored the Mosquito when calculating efficiency. But the legacy extended beyond statistics. Modern air forces learned the lesson: speed and stealth can replace defensive armament. The Cold War bombers, Bib Neaton 52, Victor, Vulcan flew high and fast, minimal defensive guns. Modern strike aircraft, Fib Neti 111, Tornado, F-15E Strike Eagle, rely on speed, electronic warfare and stealth. No defensive guns at all. The Mosquito proved the concept 80 years ago. With plywood, the aircraft remained in RAF service until 1963, 22 years after introduction. Target tugs, training aircraft, even some operational photo reconnaissance units. The last flight was May 1963. No. 3 civilian anti-aircraft cooperation unit retired their TT.35 variants. Today fewer than 30 complete Mosquitoes exist, most in museums. A handful airworthy. When one flies at an airshow, everyone stops to watch. The sound is distinctive. Twin Merlin engines, elegant lines. The knowledge that this wooden aircraft terrorized Nazi Germany. Hermann Göring's nightmare is now Britain's pride. February 18, 1944. Group Captain Percy Charles Pickard died attacking Amiens prison. His Mosquito was shot down by Focke-Wulf, 190s. His grave is maintained by French villagers. Flowers appear every year on the anniversary. The mission succeeded. Prisoners escaped. Resistance networks survived. D-Day remained secret. All because 19 wooden aircraft flew to France at treetop level. The Luftwaffe had the Focke-Wulf 190. America had the B-17 Flying Fortress. Britain had plywood and genius. Sometimes that's enough.